Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Samantha speaking from 20 over 10. I have Amanda Larson joining me today. Hi, Amanda, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I've got my coat on because it's very chilly here in the office. And I can see everyone is signing on, so we'll give everybody just a few minutes to join. Again, thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about conquering your Google Analytics. So, Amanda, can you see my screen all right and hear me okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So why don't we go ahead and we can launch a poll while everybody's joining, and everyone can just take a minute and answer some questions that we have, and that'll give us a good some good guidelines for what kind of information you're interested in learning today, what you want to learn more about, how we can help you. Amanda, I think you are the host, so you still may need to launch the poll too. And just to give everybody a little bit of a heads up, we have two different places you can interact with us. So in case you're not familiar with Zoom, there's a Q&A box. So that would be for private one-on-one questions or comments you want only Amanda and I to be able to see. And then there is a chat box, which you should all be able to see right now. And that would be for any information that you just want to share with this whole community of financial advisors and Amanda and myself. So anyone can see what you put there in the chat box. We will be happy to see any of the questions that you have throughout the presentation. Just keep in mind that we may already be planning to get to them at some point, so we may not answer them until the end or a later segment. So if you haven't already, go ahead and answer this poll that we have here about what information you're most interested to learn. I'm asking you to select two, so that will just give us a good barometer of what you'd most like to uncover. And one of them, for those of you who know Google Analytics well, is a kind of a trick question. So we'll see if anybody picks up on which one. There's one of these that actually Google Analytics cannot really provide you the answer to. You need another tool in Google's G Suite. And I'll be sharing more about that today, but it's often something we get asked a lot. So we'll see if anyone can pick up on it. If you think you know the answer, put it in the chat box of which of these you actually can't really get the answer from in Google Analytics. So the top answers people are giving are, it's almost a tie, a three-way tie. How to determine a quality visit to your site, how to unlock keywords, and where most of your site visitors are coming from. Nobody really seems to be interested in what days of the week that people are visiting. And then the other two are about both 25%, which pages are visitors dropping off of and how site traffic compares. Ding, 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 we have a right answer. So Allison Stutz, keywords are not something actually that Google Analytics can tell you. You need Google Search Console for that. And we actually are going to be giving a webinar next month on that very topic. So next month we will do a webinar all about Search Console and unlocking the keywords and making sure that you know which keywords are driving traffic to your site. So stay tuned for that. I'm sorry to break that all to you all today, that analytics cannot provide that. So if this is where you've been going to try to find your keywords, you've been sadly disappointed because it does not share that information. Okay, so the second poll we have now is how familiar or comfortable are you with the Google Analytics platform? This will just give us a good sense of the level that everybody joining us here today is. Are you a beginner, advanced user? And then we can sort of tailor what we'll talk about. Truth be told, I kind of assumed most of you would not be advanced, so we don't really have very much advanced info to share. And the answers that people are giving are pretty in line with what I thought. So most of you, about 80%, are either beginner, have logged on but never used it, or don't even know if you have it set up right. So that's fine. That's what we're here for today, to help you get acquainted with the platform, to show you around, show you what you can do, and hopefully you'll walk away having some tricks up your sleeve. So I'll go ahead and end these. Thanks everybody for taking the time. And the one advanced user that is on, one person said they were advanced. This hopefully will still be helpful, but you may not get as much out of it because we're not going to go into too far of advanced settings. Okay, so let's dive right in. Let me just exit out of this. Okay, so just a few housekeeping items. As we mentioned before, the webinar is recorded and you will get recording sent to you afterwards. And you can always, feel free to interrupt us with a question by sending a message in the chat box or in the Q&A panel. So again, for those of you who either just joining us or have never joined us for a webinar before, I'm Samantha Russell. I am heading up our marketing and business development offices here at 20 over 10. So I help really drive the strategy for 20 over 10's own marketing and what do we value when it comes to our own SEO and our own content and inbound strategy. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you all today is what I've seen work for us, as well as what I've seen work for the advisors we work with. Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Cool. Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Amanda Larson. I'm Assistant Director of Digital Marketing here at 20 over 10. I'm going to be a little bit more behind the scenes today, answering everybody's questions and posting a lot of resources in the chat box, but I'll be chiming in throughout. At 20 over 10, I'm in charge of heading up all of our internal marketing efforts. So social media, email marketing, our blog, all of that good stuff. Then I also work with our clients as well. So I recognize a few of the names I'm seeing on the participant list. So it's good to see everybody. So I work with our clients on their copywriting for websites. I also help them with SEO, Google Analytics, and social media. So I'm excited to be here.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, so Amanda is going to be behind the scenes, putting in some resources in the chat box. If you have any questions, she'll hopefully be able to answer some of them offline, and then I'll answer some online as well. All right, so today, some key things we're going to cover. How your site compares to other advisors. I know that's a top thing that a lot of you want to know. How does my site compare? How does my data compare to everybody else's? How are visitors finding your website? How do you qualify whether somebody's a good prospect or is a quality visitor to your site? It can be difficult to know those things. So we're going to go over all of these and a little bit more. Another key thing is how can you make changes to your website based on the data that you're getting, right? That's also really key. So you're going to get all this data. What do you do with it? You want to make changes and then track. So the first thing for any of you who answered in our poll, I don't even know if I have it set up correct. My heart goes out to all of you because just probably the number of people I've worked with who have said something similar like that to me, I completely understand. That can feel a little bit daunting. I know probably about half of you are 20 over 10 users and half of you aren't. So if you're not, 20 over 10 is a platform, a website platform where you can work with our team or build a site yourself, and then you have access via the dashboard to manage the site on your own. Under our integrations tab, which you can see here, there is a place where you can put in your tracking number. If you don't know how to get the tracking number, you can reach out to our support team, support@20over10.com, and they'll give you instructions on how to get it. And then you're going to just add it in right here, and immediately your website will start being tracked. It's not retroactive, unfortunately, so if you've never set it up, it's not going to go back to the day your website launched and start tracking your data. It will start about 24 hours after you've installed it. So if you do not have it installed, and maybe you're thinking, oh, it's going to be a few months before I can even really dive deep into this data, do not wait to go set it up. Set it up today, and it's okay if you don't look at the data for a few months, but at least your site will start being tracked. If you want to check to see if yours is being tracked or not and you're a 20 over 10 user, again, just go to your dashboard, click on integrations, and check to see if your tracking code is there. If you're on a system that is not 20 over 10, If you go to Google and you search for Google Analytics tracking, they have a full set of instructions for all different systems. So WordPress is a really popular one. Check those out and you should be able to get some help there. So the first thing I just want to make you familiar with is the Google Analytics dashboard. And this is just a screenshot of it, but I'm going to actually pull up throughout this whole presentation 20/10's Google Analytics in real time, just because I think it makes a lot more sense to show it to you in an interactive way. And if you haven't been in Google in a while, there are some really great new features that you should be really excited about. And actually, even in the last month or so, they have launched a really fun, insightful new tool that I'm so excited about. I know Amanda's excited about, that I want to point out to all of you. So first things first, on the left-hand side here, you can see we have our home tab, which is what we're looking at. And then we actually have the ability to customize this dashboard. So you can come in here and create different dashboards. So if you always want to see how much your traffic has gone up over the last 30 days, you can create a dashboard view for that. And you can create different custom reports. For most of you, you're going to be able to get a lot of the information you want just by using the standard reporting. But if you're working for a firm that needs you to create more custom reports, this is where you would go in to do that. We'll get down into these different tabs here in just a second, but right here on our homepage, you're always going to see an acquisition report first. And an acquisition report is telling you where your users are finding you, how they're landing on your site. So again, a really broad general overview, but we can see it's broken down into organic search, direct search, referrals, social, and other. And I'm going to explain what all those mean. But this is a very high level overview, right, of, by day. So September 19th, 20th, 21st, how much they're being broken down. This isn't my favorite way to view this. So what I actually like to do is go to the acquisition report, which is going to show it to us in a pie chart, as well as broken down by area here. And we can change the date range up as well. So if we want to get a look at more long range of data, we can always change the date rate up there. So that is something I would always pay attention to. You usually want to have your date range by either monthly or quarterly to be able to just compare and contrast against periods of time. So again, from the homepage, any of these little widgets that we have are going to be interactive and can show us different things. And when we click on them, it's going to take us to that full report. You can even break it down by users by the time of day. So if you're wondering, for instance, you're posting on social media a lot and you're wondering maybe when's a good time that I should be posting, you could look and see when people are most active with some of your content already and try posting more at those times. Or maybe, looking and seeing when, if you're trying out a new time, posting a new time and then coming back and checking to see how it's working if people are actually landing. So there's lots of different stuff you can do, again, with this dashboard. The one area I just wanted to point out really quickly that is completely new to analytics is over here. It's called Insights. And it's so fun and so exciting. I'm like giddy just talking about it. It is a little tool tip box that you can type in any question you want. And instead of having to go through all of this data, right, there's over 10,000 metrics here in this entire dashboard, which is why a lot of us get overwhelmed. You can ask a question and Google will try to give you an answer based on the data. So you can see here, I asked the question, what days do I have the most users? And Google gave me this little report. Top day of the week by users. And so we can see by far and away, Tuesday is the day that people read our blog posts the most. Now, if you guys didn't know what I know, you might be thinking, wow, I wonder why, it's Tuesday. And then it goes Wednesday, then Thursday, down and down. Amanda and I know that we send out our monthly newsletters and bi-weekly blog post recaps on Tuesdays to everyone who's subscribed to our email list. So it would make the most sense that people are clicking the links within those newsletters and blog e-newsletters on Tuesdays when we send them. And then, a little bit more people opening them on Wednesday, then Thursday as they clean up their inbox, right? So that is going to make a lot of sense. We can, again, still go to the full report here, but this little Insights tab is just fantastic. It will tell you things like, hey, 20/10, congrats, you've reached an all-time high for your monthly users. Here's your website performance week over week. And if you scroll down to Insights on Demand, they have some preloaded ones. So what are my, where am I getting the most sessions and what campaigns? What percentage of my users are coming from organic search out of all users in the last 30 days. So it's going to give you a ton of different data, and it's Google's attempt to make analytics much more user-friendly and intuitive to use. So rather than you having to make these inferences, it's going to do some of that for you. So if you haven't checked out Insights yet on your Google Analytics dashboard, please, go in there and check it out. I just wanted to give you a couple other examples of the types of insights on demand you can get with that new tool. So I already showed you this one over the last 6 months. What days do I have the most users? Here's another one that I looked up yesterday. How does my daily traffic compare this month to the same time last year? So we can see the number of sessions in blue for this month in 2018 versus the same time period in 2017. So even though our traffic patterns are following the same ebb and flow, where we get a lot of traffic during the weekdays when everyone's at work, then it tapers off on the weekends, then it goes up, then it goes down, we're seeing overall way more traffic than we did the same month last year. And if I can leave you with one piece of advice or words of wisdom in this presentation, the number one thing to really think about is what your numbers say are going to be your numbers. It's kind of like running a marathon. The first time you do it, you're never going to perform as well as you want to. So if you're really just now getting into digital marketing or analyzing your numbers, and you're going to want to see them improve, and that's normal. What you should be focusing on is, are you improving over time? That's the number one biggest barometer of success, is the amount of organic traffic you have this month in 2018 going to be less than what you have the same month in 2019. And it should be, right? Every month you should be consistently going up and up and up over time. And if you're doing that, then you're doing something right. If you start to see these anomalies where your traffic is really spiking downward, or over a period of a year it's getting worse and worse, that's when you know, or just staying flat, like it's not trending upwards, that's where you know you have a lot more work to do. I see some great questions coming in about what is a session, what is a visit, and we will get into some of those different definitions. But a session is for the date period that the date range that you have listed out. Let me go back here to audience. This is a kind of general definition. So for any date range that you have, you're going to have users and you're going to have sessions. You're always going to have less users than sessions because one user can have multiple sessions. So a session is defined as they come to your site and they leave it within this time period. So your sessions and users are going to change every time you change your date range. If I was doing it for this week, just 1 week, right? I might have pretty much the same number of users as sessions. Maybe most of my visitors only come once a week. But if I do it for a 90-day period and I have a handful of people that come, more than once a week, I'm going to see a lot more sessions than users. So one user can have multiple sessions. Hope that explains it. Okay, so another question you can ask in that insights are, what are my top landing pages in terms of sessions? So not just what landing pages are the most visited, but who comes back to those landing pages even more than once, right? Because a session, again, can have more than one user. So you can ask questions like that. How do people find my website? We started going over the acquisition model. So these are all questions that Google's analytics tool can help you answer. Where am I losing people? Where are people leaving my website? Again, this is something you can ask in that Insights tab now, and it's going to tell you how to go straight to the report. So beforehand, you needed to know where to go in the data in order to find the answers to these questions. Now you can just go to this, what data are you looking for? Type in your question, and it's going to, for the most part, send you to the correct report. So I can't articulate enough how revolutionary this is, because before you had to know first what report to go to, then how to look. Now you can just come to this search bar, type in your question, and for the most part, it's going to give you those answers. All right, so let's hop right into what metrics you all should be monitoring and how you're going to compare to some of the other financial advisors that are also tracking all of this information, right? Because we can only really benchmark against the data that we have. So we have the top metrics that you want to monitor. So I'm going to go through these line by line. Let me just move my little chat box here. So the very first one, and I already mentioned that, is organic traffic. This is really the essence of SEO. This is going to tell you if your site is performing well or not. So what is organic traffic? Organic traffic is somebody goes to Google or Bing or Yahoo, they type in a query. How much money can I save in a Roth IRA? Are my contributions to my HSA tax deductible? I want to find a financial planner in Phoenix, Arizona. Whatever their query is, they type something in. Your website is one of the answers that come up in the SERP. So the search engine result page is what it stands for. So in the list of results, your site is there somewhere and they click on it. That is what organic traffic is. So you want to always be paying attention to how much of your traffic is coming from organic. And the way that you find that is you're going to come over here to the audience tab, and we're going to click on acquisition, and we're going to click on overview. And right here, we're going to see organic search. So we can see in the date range that I've specified, we have almost 9,000 visits from organic search. So somebody searched maybe websites for financial advisors and found 20/10. Or they did a search and they just wrote 20/10. Instead of going to 20over10.com in the URL, they searched for our company name and then clicked on it. Any of those are going to be counted as an organic search. Again, as I mentioned before, you also want to pay attention to the is your traffic increasing over time? And you should pay attention to both sessions and users. So like I said before, one user can have more than one session. So optimally, what you want to see is, A, you're getting more site visits. So that would be the total number of users, right? But B, the people that are finding you online are coming back more than once, and that should also go up. So if you're blogging, for instance, and you're starting to really cultivate a great blog following, people who are invested in what you're doing, maybe you're building out a subscriber email list, the number of sessions you have should also be going up and up and up. So you definitely should see an increase in both of those. And that also plays into the percentage of returning visitors versus new visitors. So to find that out, we're going to come over here on the left-hand side to the audience tab, and we're going to click overview. And we are going to be able to see here in this pie chart the percentage, again, for this date range specified, of new versus returning users. The reason I keep harping on for this date range is that you shouldn't just willy-nilly come in here and look at your data randomly. You should have a set time that you record your results and you record your data multiple times throughout the year. Some people are going to do it once a month. If you're a small firm and you don't have the bandwidth, then I would suggest doing it every 6 months. Quarterly is great too, but have a list of these metrics that you want to monitor. How much organic traffic did we get? How many total visits did we have? How many of them were new versus how many were returning? And you can even just record percentages in that instance as well. And then when you go to record it again 6 months from now, you can actually see how you're performing. Google can compare date ranges for you, compare, this month to this same month last year, but it's really hard to compare this month and then last month and then the month before, in a row. So it's a lot easier if you keep a separate report to look at your own progress. Okay, geolocation. I'm going to get into a whole section on this, but the geolocation is especially important if you are targeting a specific location, of the country. So if you are based in Phoenix, Arizona, and you know that most of your clients are going to be in that area, or you want most of your clients to be in that area, or ranking really high on the first page is important to you for search term like financial planner, Phoenix, Arizona, you want to look and see, are the people finding me and coming to my site from Phoenix, Arizona? So the way you would do this is under audience, we are going to come over here on the left-hand side to geo, and we are going to click on location. So again, audience, geolocation. We're going to scroll down and we're going to click the United States. And now we're going to see all the different states that people have come to 20 over 10's blog from, right? So let's say that I am wanting to see how many people came and from where in Pennsylvania. I can click Pennsylvania. And then it's even going to show me on this map here specific locations. And these bubbles obviously show the density. So a bigger dot is a lot more people in that location. So we can kind of see where they're clustered. And then even if we want to get hyper specific, we can click on one of these locations and run separate reports, right? So let's say we click on Philadelphia. So we can see under Philadelphia, we had, again, for the date range specified, 81 users, so 81 individual people that came to our site. Of them, 73 were new. They had never visited our website before. They had 96 sessions total, and they had a 76% bounce rate. Bounce rate is something that I feel like in the past people have put almost too much emphasis on. What bounce rate really means is somebody lands on your site, they engage with a page that they've landed on, so they could enter on straight to a blog post. Maybe you share something on LinkedIn, they click it, they land on that blog post. They don't read anything else but that blog post and they leave. That would be considered a bounce. If they land on your homepage and they never click anything else and they leave the homepage, that would also be considered a bounce. So you can see in some instances, bounce rate can be bad. So for instance, if people are bouncing off your homepage, that's not good because they haven't really gotten any meat or potatoes of what you're all about. They're just landing on the homepage and leaving. But if they are bouncing from your blog, well, that's okay. Maybe they just clicked on a blog post you shared and they want to read more. So keep, what that bounce rate is in context of what data are you looking at. So in this instance, we have no idea what pages they're on, so we can't really make an inference here. We can see that the total number of pages that they visited were 2, and that they averaged 1.5 minutes was the average session duration. A lot of people are very surprised to learn when they look at their data how little bit of time people are spending on their site. And again, I say this all the time, but you do not have a lot of time to engage with a site visitor. If you think of your own user behavior on websites, you don't read every word that somebody writes. We scroll to find what we're looking for. So this is why it's really important when you're thinking about setting up your website to work with a professional that can help you so that it's set up to have great user experience, so that you have big, bold headers that people can find what they're looking for. Even when you're writing your own blog post, break it up into sections that can easily be scanned. Don't assume that people are going to read every word. They're not. We know that they're not. So I'm going to talk about what metrics are good in another slide, but that's the overview of what these mean. So let's just say we want to know now though, okay, all these people who found me, I'm in Philadelphia, this is great. I had 81 people that were visiting my site, but where did they go? What did they do when they were on my site? So we're going to look at this tab right here, secondary dimension. We're going to click that. And we're going to go down and choose behavior, right? So we're thinking about behavior. What did they do when they were on the site? And I specifically want to know what page did they land on? So where were they entering my website, right? So again, we went to secondary dimension. We chose behavior because we're interested in a behavior, and we're going to click on landing page. Now what we're going to see is for all the people that visited us from Philadelphia, what were those pages that they landed on? So we can see 6 steps to start your own financial planning business, how advisors can attract and retain or develop. These are all blog posts. If you see this little backslash, I get asked this a lot, that is your homepage. So it's just Google Analytics way of showing that it's your homepage. There's no other URL off of it. So now you can start to make some, inferences. We can look at bounce rate now in this context of which sites or which landing pages, you know, are people bouncing off of. We can see for our homepage, we only had a 33% bounce rate. The lower the number with bounce rate, the better. So that's fantastic. That tells us that when people are landing on the blog, they are engaging with a lot more pages, right? Versus if I see under how advisors can attract and retain young advisor talent, we had 100% bounce rate. Well, I may want to go back and add some links to further content. Maybe another blog post we did about millennial advisors, or a blog post we did about incentives that you can create. Or maybe I want to have some sort of call to action to talk with someone from our team. So whatever the case may be, when you see a bounce rate really high on one page of like 100%, that tells us we need to go back and optimize that particular page. Okay. So geolocation, super important. You can do a lot with it. That's just one instance. I should just mention too, again, you can do a lot with these secondary dimensions, as you can imagine, right? So you can cross-reference any one data set by another data set using these secondary dimensions. So if you wanted to know from the subset of Philadelphia, again, how many people maybe we wanted to know where they were finding us. You know, how are they landing on our site? How are our visitors in Philadelphia finding us? So we can come and we can say, we want to know the source of where they're coming from. So now I can see that 47 people found me from organic search in Philadelphia. So I can say, okay, great. So my site's doing good for organic search in context, you know, in Philly. If I didn't see any organic search and I wanted to rank well, that would be really telling. I need to work on my SEO keywords for Philadelphia. I can see 19 people directly just went to blog.20over10.com, put it right in the URL. That's what a direct hit is. I can see 10 came from LinkedIn, 1 came from one FPA, and on and on and on. So this will give you information specifically about where people are coming from, cross against what city. So again, use that secondary dimension to help you find much more specific data sets that you want to look at. I see a bunch of great questions coming in. Amanda's going to continue to answer some of those offline, and then I'll jump into some of them as it pertains further into the presentation. So we touched on bounce rate a little bit. Again, it's if somebody enters a page and leaves that exact same page, that is considered a bounce. You want super, super low bounce rates on your homepage, because your homepage, people should not be bouncing off of. Your blog, you're probably going to see a lot higher bounce rates, sometimes as high as in the 80s overall. And that's okay, because you're going to have a lot of people who just come in to read the content. But there's things you can do, of course, to try to make them stay. So one of the biggest things that you can do, and I'll just show it real quick here, is within any of your blog posts, you want to link to other content within your own website. So you can see here, you know, we're linking to a Google Analytics post that we have. We have a call to action to link to something. We have another call to action just to our blog in general, to other posts that we've written. These are all links to other content. The more you can build links within your content, the more you're going to see that bounce rate go down and down and down, because you're going to entice people to keep reading and stay on the page. If you don't have something like this, this is also a great thing. Wait until the very bottom of the page and then build in a "you may also like" feature, which will give them options for further reading. If your blog doesn't, you don't have a widget or something to do this automatically, you can just yourself link to 3 posts that you know are relevant to the topic at hand. And that's a great way to go about it as well. Okay, so 2 more metrics to monitor would be your top landing and exit pages overall, and your acquisition sources. So I mentioned what a landing and an exit page is. A landing page is just how are people entering your site. A really fun kind of way to see this in action is if you come down to the behavior tab and we click behavior flow, we can actually see how people are flowing through our site. So right here, we're going to see where they are landing. So we can see if it's a specific blog post, if it's a page like our showcase page. Yours might say a blog post. It could say your homepage. It could say your bio, our team, maybe a financial planning services page you offer, whatever it might be. So this is one way you can look at it. You can also just come to behavior overview, and you can see the different pages here and the total number of page views as well to see which ones are getting the most popularity. In terms of exit pages, under site content, come down here and you can click exit pages. And now this is going to show you where people are leaving your site more than any other page. So where are the top pages that people are leaving? I always look at these and think, how can we get them to stay, right? How can we add another call to action, another link, something to get them to stay? This is a guest post, for instance. We had Arlene Moss she works with the XYPN Planning Network, if you're not familiar. She wrote a post about 6 steps to start your own financial planning business as a guest post on our blog. One of the reasons a lot of people leave after that post is we don't help people start their own financial planning businesses. We help them market their business once they start it, but because it's a guest post, it's a good thing to me that it's one of our top exit pages. It makes sense. We can think about creative ways to get people to stay. Maybe, hey, did you already start your business and now you're ready to start marketing it? Or maybe a post about, did you reserve your domain name yet? Here's the steps you can use to do that. But because, again, we're not going to help people starting their business, it makes sense that this would be a high exit page. So again, you want to look at your data and make inferences and then maybe change things up based on what that data is telling you. Okay, so you all wanted to know this. So here are some numbers for you. What makes a quality visit? And again, this is going to be different for every industry. I am giving you these data sets based on the fact that you are not e-commerce businesses. Forgive me if I'm wrong, maybe one or two of you are like selling webinars or educational classes, but for most of you, you are not going to be selling things on your website. So what makes a quality visit on an e-commerce page? One of the top things, right, is that they put things in their cart and they purchase them. You all don't have the luxury of that because you're service-based, you're B2B. So, or not B2B, but you're, a service-based, you might be B2B, but you're not going to have somebody like using a checkout system to help you determine if you had a conversion. So here are some things you can do instead. Number one, geolocation. If you, again, are wanting to target a specific location, then the number of people visiting your site in that location should be pretty high. I can't, unfortunately, give you a percentage because it's all going to depend about how active you are in content marketing. If you are a really robust blogger, people are going to find your page from all over the country, maybe even all over the world. And that's a good thing. But then the percentage of people who are finding you in your specific geographic location may be lower as a percentage, right? Because you have all this other traffic coming into your blog. What you just want to look at overall are, once you land on that geographic tab, as I showed you previously, are the people within that cohort doing what you want them to do? Are they staying on the page? Are they looking at more than one page? Are they not bouncing away? And that will give you a good barometer of whether your geolocation is performing the way you want it to. So if you want to target Philadelphia and you have 11,000 visits in 90 days and only 100 of them are from Philadelphia, you got a lot of work to do. And that is, again, if you're not sure where you're at, talk to an expert, work with our team, whatever it might be, but they can help you determine what would be best. So for the average pages per session, a quality visit is somebody who's looking at more than 2 pages, 2 or more. Most people are going to look at 1. So if they're getting 2 or more, then that's a quality visit. Same thing with if somebody's spending 2 minutes or higher, that's actually a really quality visit as well. They're processing what you're writing, they're looking for something specific, they're reading bits of information, that's a quality visit. So again, these numbers might seem really low, but this is actually, you see somebody who's in your location, they're visiting more than 2 pages, they're spending more than 2 minutes, you've got their attention, and that's a really good quality visit. We want to see your bounce rate for these quality visits be less than 60%. So like I mentioned before, right, if it's hard to say for every page what your bounce rate should be, but overall, a good bounce rate is between 40 and 60%, and anything less than 60% is definitely going to be better. Another thing you can do to determine quality visits is rather than just have, calls to action on your main site, you can force people to go to a landing page in order to get some sort of ebook or freemium or sign up for your newsletter, and then you can track how many people end up on that exit page and then cross-reference it with how many of them complete that call to action, right? So how many people ended on your exit page? So you create a landing page, let's say, for sign up for this ebook, and you can download it right away, give me your email. And your email is going to add them then to like a MailChimp list. So you can look every month in Google Analytics, how many people end up on that exit page versus how many people in MailChimp are being added. And if the numbers are very, very drastically different, then your call to action isn't converting as many people as you would want it to. Even of the number of people who make it to an exit page, like a landing page to complete a CTA, oftentimes we see like 6% completing it, sometimes 10%. If you get up into like 15, 20%, that's a really great conversion rate. So that's another way you can do it. If you're using 20/10 for your website, keep in mind, you have the ability to make unlimited landing pages on the back end. So when you are here in your dashboard, if you went and clicked back to pages, all the way at the bottom, you'll see other pages. You can create as many landing pages as you want, and that can really help you track how many people are getting that to where you want them to go and then completing that conversion. Okay, so we talked about geographic location already. Oh, sorry, I forgot one more thing. I already mentioned this in the polls, but just in case you're joining us late, I know a lot of you want to know keywords. What keywords are giving me traffic? And even though that is a metric you do want to monitor, it's not something that Google Analytics can tell you. So unfortunately, when you go to acquisition and you click overview and you go to organic search, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see, is Samantha Russell pregnant? Well, I guess I haven't looked at this in a while. That's funny. You're not going to see that. And no, I'm not pregnant. That is really, really weird. Hopefully you're all getting a laugh today. No, but you're going to see some like random keywords here. But the majority of them, right, 99% are going to be not provided. So there's a whole big long explanation for this, but basically what I can say is you're going to need to go to Google Search Console to get those keywords. And the good news is if you've already set up your analytics, then you already have a Google account, you already have it tied to your domain, so getting your Search Console set up will be really easy. And then you can unlock all of the keywords. You can see how you're ranking for every keyword. And we're going to, again, go into all of this next month on our Google Search Console webinar. So make sure that you sign up for that one. Actually, I'll just show you how to sign up for it right now. If you go to our website and you click here, join a demo, right down here, SEO best practices. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Search Console and how you can unlock those keywords. So make sure you sign up for that one. Okay, so moving on to geolocation. And again, I'm just going to spend a little bit more time on this because I know so many of you do have a specific location that you want to find, you want more people to be finding you in. These are the questions that you should be asking yourself. And don't worry about taking screenshots or anything of these slides. The slides will be sent to you in a PDF format as well as the webinar recording. So Amanda's awesome and we'll get all of that to you. So you first want to know, how is my physical location performing, right? So just overall, if you're based in Cleveland, Ohio, how many visits are you getting from Cleveland? But then also, as I showed you, what pages are the locals visiting most? So your site, if it's performing well for organic search for your keywords, you should see more local traffic to your homepage, your about page, your services page, than just your blog posts. And think about that, right? It's because your homepage, your about page, your services page are going to have keywords in there like financial planning and wealth management serving the Cleveland, Ohio area. You're going to, when your site comes up in the listings for Financial Advisor Cleveland, Ohio, what's going to come up? Your homepage, your about page, your services page. That's what people are going to be clicking on the most. So that's another good way to see how your site is performing in that location. It's not to say that they won't click your blog, but that's typically not going to be what they land on. You also want to think about how can I link the pages that people are visiting to other top content. So if you have a lot of local visitors coming to your homepage, but your homepage is sort of blah, blah, and they're all falling off, then that's where you need to go back and optimize it to make it more exciting. Maybe link to blog posts that would entice them. I see people who will write blogs, they're very specific for their location, right? So not how much money do I need to retire, but how much money do I need to retire in Cleveland, Ohio? And we can very easily talk about the cost of living, how much houses cost, and people will be a lot more intrigued by that, and they'll realize that you understand the location a lot better than just another advisor. And then again, how can I drive more local traffic? So performing locally is really important, and it's going to often be the easiest way for you to perform well. So it can be really hard to compete for keywords against 300,000 other financial advisor websites in this country for things like how much do I need to retire? But it's a lot easier for how much do I need to retire in a location. So you can drive a lot more local traffic by adding those keywords to your blog post. And then you can also very easily often share that on social, and it'll get picked up and shared a lot more, which again is just more backlinks. So these are all ways that you can help improve the geographic location. Okay. Another thing a lot of people want to know is top content. What is the top content that I have? So again, on the left-hand side over here, we are going to go to behavior, and we're going to click on site content, and then we're going to do this content drill down. And these are going to be our most visited pages, unique page views. Which pages are getting the most unique page views? This is different than a landing page, right? So somebody could end up visiting our best financial advisor websites roundup 7 times, but only have landed on it once. And when I say landed on it, what I mean is that's the site they entered our blog on. So maybe they first see it on LinkedIn and they're like, oh, that's great, I want to see this. They click it and they immediately are taken specifically to that page on our blog. But now, every other time they want to come back and see that, instead of clicking on it directly, they go to blog.20over10, and then in the search they click, best financial advisor roundup, and then they bring it up. So they've only landed on it once as a landing page, but they've seen it 5 times. So that's the difference between a landing page and just a page view. I hope that makes sense. So again, this is going to give you your page views here, and then don't neglect, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see down here, there are 498 pages in this case of data to look through. So it will get very granular for you. And if you have a really robust website with a ton of pages, you can look page by page at every single one of them. But what gets really more interesting, at least in my mind, is learning where do people find this content and how are they landing on it, right? So if I go back to one of our top pieces of content here, the best financial advisor websites 2017 roundup, and I click on it, again, now under secondary dimension, I can go to acquisition, and I can start looking at how are people finding it. So I can see that 91% of people are finding that blog post through organic search. So they're doing a search term for advisor websites or the best websites for advisors and landing on that post. The next big chunk, 7%, are a direct hit. So what direct means, again, is that up in the URL, they specifically type it in. And you might be thinking, wow, people are typing in blog.20over10.com/the best financial advisor websites. Well, as you know, when you start typing in your URL box up there, your browser bar, Google will give you a list of all of these, sites you've recently visited before or recommendations. And so if you just select one of them and click it, that will count it as a direct hit. So then all of these others that are coming up are really constituting a very small percentage. So that would lead me to believe that in terms of how that piece of content is performing for us, it's performing great in organic. It's bringing us a ton of organic traffic, but it's not something people are that interested to talk about on social media. It just looking at it in this way, right? So if you see something where 90% is coming from LinkedIn, well, then that's a piece of content that went viral, and you should write more blog posts like that. So using that secondary dimension can really help you make some inferences about what's performing well, what you should be doing within your content. Okay, I'm gonna kind of zoom through a couple of these things because I wanna make sure I get to answer all of your questions, and I think I'm being a little too long-winded because we've got 9 minutes left until the top of the hour. So here are some questions to ask in terms of your content. Number one, what pages are people spending the most amount of time on, obviously, but then cross-referencing that with where are they coming from? Or is it because they're coming to it from email, from social media, referral traffic, etc.? And then of those pieces of content, where are people bouncing the least? So you can actually, if we come back over here and let's just go back to position and say, actually, come back to content really quickly. We can say under bounce rate, we can click on it and it will give it to us in terms of what's the highest or the lowest. So if we click it again, now we can see all these pieces of content that, you'll see as you scroll through, these are kind of like preview because these are drafts of our posts, but you'll start to see all of your blog posts that are not bouncing at all versus the ones where people are, bouncing a lot. So that is a way that you can look at it. Ours is set up a little bit different because of the way we edit, but it will work for you all. And then of course, these are some things you would want to do, as I've already mentioned. Create links, write longer form content, break up your posts, and add some calls to action. I see some people are raising their hand, and I'm so sorry, we can't answer questions that way, but if you put them in the chat box or pop them in the Q&A, I'll be sure to answer them either verbally or in the chat. So these are just some benchmark bounce rates by different industries. And again, what we typically want to see for advisors that we work with are 40 to 60%. If you want to learn more about your bounce rate and what you can do to fix it, there's a blog post we have that is really informative as well. Okay, so some of you are still not sure about what we mean by these different terms of how they're finding you, so I'm just going to define them for you really quickly here. So these are the different ways people can land on your site: direct, social, organic search, referral, and email. Let's start with the easiest. Email is really simple. They get an email, there is a link to your website or your blog in that email, and they click it and they land on your page. And then it will be counted as an email in your acquisition. So again, when we want to know where they're finding us, how they're landing there, we're going to go to acquisition and overview. And we're going to see all of these options, right? So if the next one is referral that I have down here, referral is a link on another site that is not social media. So if you wrote a guest blog post for a local CPA or a tax attorney and you link back to your website and somebody clicks on it on the guest post on the CPA or the attorney site, that would be counted as a referral. If 20 over 10, helped you design your website and we featured you on our blog as a great example of design and somebody clicked on your website, that would be a referral. So a referral, it could also be if you're a member of NAPFA or ACP, or if you're linked on Find an Advisor for your broker dealer, whatever it is, and one of these organizations you're a part of are linking to your site, that would be a referral. So anytime you see referral, it's just a link from another third-party site. Social is just that, right? It's going to be Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, any of the social places that you see. That would be considered a link from social channels. We already, again, talked about organic search. That would be Google, Bing, Yahoo, any of the search engines. When somebody does a query, even if they just search a company name. So if your company is XYZ Planning, and instead of going up here in the browser bar and typing in, www.xyzplanning.com, they just search XYZ Planning. And then in the Google search results, click your company name. That's still going to count as an organic search. So keep that in mind. Direct is when you just go straight to your browser bar and you type in the exact URL that you want to land on. So instead of searching 20over10, I click, I put in 20over10.com. That would be a direct. I hope that's pretty self-explanatory. I get a lot of questions from people about counting themselves in their data. Just keep in mind, again, Google counts users, sessions, and unique or new returning visitors. So when you're looking at your data, even if you visit your website every day, you're going to pretty quickly see that the number of sessions will be a lot higher than the total number of users, right? So you want to see a lot of users going up. You do want to see the sessions going up, and there is a way that you can kind of pull yourself out of the data. If you do a Google search about how do I block my own visits from my data, it's a little bit more high level, but for most of you, you just want to keep in mind that the total number of users is going to be much more representative than the total number of sessions, because you might have yourself a lot of sessions if you're visiting your site every single day. Okay, so here are some benchmarks to leave you with. I'm just going to scroll past those others of what the average advisor is getting. So organic traffic per month, they're seeing 250 to 600 visits. So this is not users, this is visits. The 250 is people who aren't blocking as often. They're a one-man or one-woman shop. The higher ones are usually people who are really producing a lot of content, or they are larger shops or they have a lot more people in them. The new versus returning, 85% of traffic for advisors typically is new versus 15% is returning. We still don't see a lot of people blogging regularly. And if you want to get more return traffic and build up your drip campaigns and really see your website as an inbound machine, you want your number of returning to go up over time for sure. In terms of what the ratio should be, I can't tell you that. It depends on your business model and what you want. That would need to be like a one-off conversation, but this is what typical advisors are seeing. The bounce rate we see most advisors seeing for their site-wide is about 65%. But again, keep in mind for their geographic location, it's usually a lot lower. And then for their blog posts, it's usually a lot higher. So it's going to depend upon whether you blog and things like that. The average session duration is 1.3 minutes, and the average blog session duration is 3 to 4 minutes. And the average pages per session is about 2.1. So you can see for people who are blogging, they're getting a lot more people staying longer when they're reading their blog post than just a normal, page on their website. And then these are some breakdowns. You'll notice they don't equal 100% because they're averages, obviously, but organic traffic versus direct, referral, social, and email. The one thing I will say that just astounds me is when people do send emails with links back to their website. So if you send a weekly email saying something like, or a monthly email, and you have links back to blog posts on your site, you'll see spikes in traffic to your site every time you send it. So, don't give up on that. Continue to do that. As I've showed you, even on our own data, we send them out on Tuesdays and we see spikes in traffic on Tuesdays. So if you're feeling like, okay, I have a good sense of where to find this information, but I still don't know what's the best for me, how should I be performing? Is my site performing well? What do I need to do to fix it? Whether you work with 20 over 10 or someone else, work with an expert to determine, what you need to do. We offer a Google Analytics package. It's $250. You can go to our pricing page If you are a 20 over 10 user, we do these. If you're not, unfortunately, we don't offer them, but I know there are some other firms that will work with you on your data. But if you are a 20 over 10 client, it's a $250 cost per session. We'll walk you through your data. We'll talk about your numbers, how you might want to improve. We'll give you a report. So it's a really great way to get some insight, and then you can determine what you want to do with it. Again, because the platform allows you to make edits on your own, you could then go back into your website, make changes, add keywords, or ask us to continue to help you. So keep that in mind for sure. And if you are just looking to, ask a question maybe that we don't have time to cover here today, certainly email us or connect with me on LinkedIn. I can't stress enough. I love hearing from everybody after all these webinars. People will send me direct messages on LinkedIn. They'll ask me to review something on their site, and I love to see it. I love to hear it. So please connect with me. Shoot me your questions. If sometimes I might not be able to get to it for a day or two, but I certainly will get back to you. I love interacting with all the advisors in this community, and would love to connect with you there if we haven't already. So yeah, thank you all so much. I think Amanda got through most of the questions offline. If there are additionals, I'll hang on here for another minute or two if anybody has other questions they want to ask. And again, we will send all of the slides and the recording out to everybody. And if you haven't already, sign up for our blog, because it's a great place to get updates and invites to new webinars, get our newsletter, things like that. So again, please let me know if you found it helpful, informative, if you learned something new, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.